This is the Brain Machine Kit from Adafruit Industries, available on proto-pic.co.uk. Just press the button. Jesus!
Okay, so the first thing is we'll run over the kit of contents just to make sure that you have everything in the kit that you require. First of all, you've got a microcontroller chip, 8-pin microcontroller, an 8-pin socket for that chip, a stereo headphone jack, 2 times red LEDs, 2 47 ohm resistors with the colour code yellow, purple, black, 2 2.2 k ohm resistors with the colour code red, 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 2 0.1 microfarad electrolytic capacitors, a push button switch, a 6-way header, a AAA battery holder, the circuit board, these stylish yet effective over-ear headphones, lovely pair of shades or safety glasses, some rainbow wire, about less than a foot, something like that, 2 cable ties, some heat shrink tubing, and a paper overlay, and obviously the 2 batteries. The first component to be put on is the resistor that goes into R4. That's one of the 47 ohm resistors with the colour code yellow, purple, black. If you're new to electronics, you don't have to worry about which way around the resistor goes, it doesn't matter. So all you do is fold the legs on the resistor to match the size of the hole, so that you've got the resistor nicely in the middle of the silk screen there, so it looks nice and neat, and then just pop it through. Just like that. We've also gone ahead and put resistor R3 in, which is the other 47 ohm resistor, and we've populated the resistors in positions R1 and R2. Those are the 2.2 k ohm resistors, the red, red, red resistors. So they're just slotted in there just now, they're not soldered. What we're going to do is we're going to turn the board over and solder the components in. So I've turned the board upside down. You can see that I've just splayed the legs of the resistors out a little bit just so they hold themselves in position. Now I'm going to try and work my soldering iron. This is an electronic soldering iron, as I've mentioned in previous videos, and it can be a real pain sometimes. The good thing about it is it never gets hot enough to damage the components. Okay, so that's all 4 resistors soldered in, and we're just going to trim those legs nice and flush to the board. Okay. Next we're going to put the on-off button in place. It can only go in to the board one way round because it's slightly rectangular. The pins are slightly rectangular, and the shape of the pins are great because when you put the button in the board it kind of holds itself in place. So we're just going to go ahead and turn the board upside down and solder that in. And the pins are a little bit too long, so I'll just stop them. Next is the IC socket. Now if we'll have a look at this IC socket, you can see a little notch at one end. That indicates the pin 1 position, and that lines up with the little notch in the silk screening. So it's fairly important to get the IC socket the correct way around, otherwise it will confuse you when you're putting the IC socket in place. We're now going to place a stereo headphone jack in there. It's got 5 pins and they just line up with these sections on the board here. So just push it in. Once again, the shape of the pins are quite nice because they lend themselves to holding the headphone jack into the... Okay, we're now going to put the 2 electrolytic capacitors in to the board in this location. Now, electrolytic capacitors, you really do need to watch the orientation. So there's a black stripe on the capacitors which indicates the minus leg, and there's a little plus sign on the silk screening. So if you just align the minus leg up with the one that doesn't say plus. Now what we've done is we've just populated the IC socket with a microcontroller, paying attention to get the pin 1 dimple on the IC lined up with the notch that we mentioned previously on the socket. Also took the opportunity just while we were off camera just to put the 6-pin header into the 6-pin header socket. Also for the LEDs in the glasses you need to mark exactly where your pupils are. So the best technique is to put the glasses on and then get a friend to mark the pupil locations with a Sharpie. And then we drill. Here we are going to drill the holes. Now we eventually want a 5.2mm hole through the glasses, but the best technique is to start off with a much smaller drill, so say a 1.2mm drill, just to get the pilot hole going. Obviously use some kind of protector for your workbench, and we're going to just put the drill right in the centre of the mark that my colleague created, and press quite firmly so it doesn't slip. Best to use a variable speed drill so you have total control. There's one done. Don't press too hard because you don't want to shatter the glasses. Okay, now we'll just change the drill bit over and open the hole out to the size of the LEDs. There's one done, nice and perfect. Nice clean hole, so we'll just do the next one now. Take the ribbon cable, and we need 6 wires from the ribbon cable. We need 3 pairs of 2 wires, a brown and red, a orange and yellow, and a green and blue. And if you just snip into the ribbon cable at one end, you can tear off strips. So just tear off a strip of the brown and red, tear off a strip of the yellow and orange, and tear off the strip of the green and blue. What we've done on each of the 3 pairs of wires is we've separated out the individual wires and stripped them. Now we're going to go ahead and solder the orange and yellow wire onto the legs of the LED. The LEDs have got 2 different lengths of leg. The shorter one is the negative leg, or the cathode. We're going to make that even shorter by just chopping it to about, so there's 7mm left, something like that. Now we're going to tin that leg just like we did with the wires, so we've got a nice solder connection. We've now got the orange wire connected to the other leg in exactly the same way. Tin the leg, cut it short. The reason we do it one at a time, just to make sure that you don't get things mixed up. So we're going to do the other LED with the yellow and blue wire, and what you want is to make sure that you've got the blue wire to the negative shorter LED pin and the green wire to the positive longer pin. 2 LEDs with wires on them. We want the legs to be bent at 90-degree angles, so very carefully and gently bend the legs, and you only get one shot. So just move that out of the way at the moment. We now want to put the LEDs through the glasses so they come through from the front facing the eye. Pop them in like that, and pop that. Next thing is to extend the battery compartment leads. So what we've done is taken 2 short pieces of heat shrink tubing, put them on the battery compartment wires, and push them well back out the way. We don't want the heat transfer to start shrinking that heat shrink down. We've put the brown and the red wires in the helping hands, available from proto-pic.co.uk, and we're just going to make sure that these 2 wires join together nicely, and then the heat shrink goes over the top. Now a lot of people use a lighter to heat the heat shrink up, or use say the end of a soldering iron, but we like to use a proper heat. We're going to now secure the battery to the left hand leg of the sunglasses. So just make sure that the wires are facing the front of the glasses, and the glasses are held nice and securely. And you can use a hot glue gun or epoxy, but to be honest, a hot glue gun is probably best for this application. Just squidge a bit of glue out, then before it goes off, just press the battery compartment down. As soon as that cools, it'll be rock solid. Next thing we want to do is to start to dress the wires over the top of the frame so they come out towards the right hand side of your head, because we're going to be mounting the PCB board here. So the easiest thing to do is start off with the furthest away wire, which is the battery compartment wires, and bring them over the top of the frame. And just use sellotape to hold them in place for the time being. Not too much sellotape though, because we're going to cunningly put a few blobs of hot glue on. So nicely over the top of the frame like that. Now when we get to the first LED, we'll start to bring the yellow and orange wires into the harness. More sellotape or scotch tape. Now we get to here and we bring the green and blue one up. Last thing we'll do is we'll just open out that leg. I'm just going to put another piece of sellotape onto the right hand leg, just to hold that bundle in place at the moment, because we're going to be putting a bit of hot glue on there, and I want to make sure that there's enough wire for the legs to close and open. Okay, what we've done is we've put spots of hot glue along the top of the harness and we've removed the sellotape. We did this off camera because I didn't want to make too much of a fool of myself. It is quite tricky using the hot glue gun and keeping it nice and neat. Just take your time, light pressure on the glue gun, that's the key. So we're going to now put the PCB in place on the left hand leg. We're going to solder the harness to the PCB, I should say, and we're going to start off by just cutting the harnesses down to size. So we'll start off with the power one, which is the brown and red harness. And you can see it goes into the PCB just about there. Now what you want is to cut it so you've got enough wire to go into the PCB, but also just enough wire so you can open and close your legs. Okay, so what we've done is we've cut the brown wires and the red wire, brought them underneath the circuit board through the two little convenient holes, looped them round and soldered them into the connections for the battery compartment there. There you have the 4 leads for the LEDs looped through and soldered into the board. Yellow is on L-, orange is on L+, blue is on R+, and green is on R-. So really one of the last things that we've got to do on the circuit side of things is put a big blob of hot glue along the edge of the leg and stick this down. So there's still a little bit of slack on the harness. Okay, our brain machine's fully assembled now. You can decorate the front of it however you see fit, but it doesn't really help to the functionality, so we've not bothered. All you do is put the headphones on the right way around, plug them into the headphone jack, close your eyes and press the button, and you end up seeing mental patterns. It's actually incredible.
I think it's you in the dark, Ripsy,
That's unbelievable, by the way. Aye, not for people with seizures, that's for sure.
Or epilepsies, it's not.
Or me. But yeah, that's very... Here's my ear. I get along the leg and on the circuit board. There it is.
I don't see my ribbons.
Jesus Christ! Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make marks in the glasses. What?
I'm at the back here.